that we're not really seeing my type of program in flooring right now, but it's hitting landscaping, it's hitting plumbing, HVAC, and electrical real hard. Carpet cleaners are really jumping on this type of thing. When I started wanting to try to do things differently and have my in-house model, I wanted to learn more about it. I couldn't find anything in flooring for this stuff, right? I'm in Facebook groups for landscaping. Garage Doors is a guy out of Phoenix, Arizona, where Jerry's from, and he's in garage doors. He couldn't find these types of systems in garage doors, and so he went into plumbing, electrical, and HVAC conferences, took a lot of their ideas about having technicians that really are brand aligned and have, really sell the company and build the company at the same time. And so he adapted that to his garage door company, and it's like he's got private equity. He's going to do $200 million a year. You know what I mean? It allowed him to really blow up. And we're not really seeing like the companies being bought up in flooring for 10 to 20 times EBITDA, right? We don't see this massive private equity investment in flooring companies like what we're seeing in these other trades. So what I'm proposing is that the subcontractor model is really what is prohibiting the flooring retail world from really capturing the power of what we're seeing in these other trade services, because they've been traditionally not subcontractors. They're traditionally in-house. So for them, it was a very logical move to really get strong, brand alignment. We're talking wrap vehicles, uniforms, everything that captures that. So this is not something that I just woke up one morning and I'm like, oh, well, this is just going to work for flooring. It's because I've adapted a lot of these systems that we're seeing explode in other trade services that hasn't hit flooring yet. And the other part too is I'm working with FloorZap right now to get management systems to be able to run this type of thing, because that's usually what people struggle with is, how am I going to manage this? How am I going to run it? We're trying to make it where you can have a one-time setup and you can give all the advantages of a subcontractor and you can have all the advantages of an employee. So that's what the Installer Performance Program is about. So take this with an open mind and really, think about the opportunities, because there's a lot of challenges that you might have in your head. But honestly, we're still doing the same thing. We're just reimagining it in a way that's more efficient, because a lot of people think that the subcontractor model is the most efficient. I'm telling you right now, it's not, because we're assembly line type production is the best. Our subcontractors are trying to run businesses. I'll talk more about that.
You want us to ask questions at the end?
No, I want you to ask a ton of questions here, because this presentation is going to be a lot better. Jerry instructed me to talk about what you guys are going to get from the benefit. There's a tons of nuts and bolts. And Jerry, and I think he's right, he said let people ask questions to talk about the nuts and bolts. So we're going to talk about, hey, this is what this is about. I want you guys to talk about the nuts and bolts.
This program is based off making a program that is not just a contractor's brand, so use your brand or any other people's brands to be part of one bigger company promoting the same brand, and goes by the same time have the contractors making good money from your company.
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
Basically, yeah. So it's like, your subcontractors are your brand ambassadors for your company, right? They're gonna show up like this. They're gonna have logoed shirts, hats, and everything like that. The problem is, the better you get at running your field operations, the more illegal you are if you're running subcontractors.
Right.
You're not supposed to train them. They're not supposed to have logos. You're not even supposed to give the client the impression that they are your employees.
Right.
Every single one of those things is not even operating in the gray area. It's flat out illegal.
Hey guys, if you'll do me a favor too, if you have a question, raise your hand, because we are on Facebook Live for the Flooring Dealer Group, and so they can hear you. I'll give you the mic so you can ask your question.
Okay. Yep.
So quick question I got down already is, do you think that we're seeing like more subs in this industry because of the lack of education, training, and like certifications and things in different states, compared to plumbing, electrical, et cetera, where there's like a lot of extensive trainings and certifications that are needed to get in the field?
I think it's more so because the installations become more of a commodity. It's like the free installation from Lowe's, type of thing. And I think that in flooring, I think subcontracting does make sense in a lot of ways, and I'm all for it. Like, I love being a subcontractor, but I also found a lot of the problems with it. And so I think it goes deeper than that. I think that's why we're not seeing training in the flooring industry. You know, every other type of trade you learn professionally. You know, even in Europe, you go to trade schools and things like that. Here, it's like, oh yeah, my brother's uncle trained me. Where did he get his training from? You know, where are the apprentices getting their training? Oh, the apprentices are carrying out a lot of work, you know, and that's the thing too, we call them helpers in this industry.
Yeah, in Canada, if you're not a certified installer, they will not hire you as, learn from you,
Yep.
uncle, your dad, or anybody. You have to pass the school system in order for you to progress and get into those flooring stores. It's a requirement.
Yeah, exactly. Other countries, you know, you have certifications. Some states have licensing. I'm not a big fan of licensing, you know, but I do want people that are trained and like certified to know what they're actually doing.
Right.
Yeah, in Arizona, you got to be licensed, but it doesn't hold any weight. I mean, there's plenty of people that are doing installation that aren't licensed contractors.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you know, the employee model actually gets around that. You can stay legally compliant, you can have unlicensed people, and you can get them trained.
To answer your question, because I run both, I think a part of the reason we're not doing employees is because of the finance side of things. Well, A, it's a bigger expense on the business, number one. And then number two, if you're paying your top guy, let's say make $30 an hour, well, a sub makes a lot more than $30 an hour because he's putting production in there. And so legally we can't pay production. We have to pay hourly and stuff like that. So I'm losing a lot of employees because they're like, I want to make more money, but I want to make more money for them. The other thing is subs, they write everything off. So realistically, even if I pay them by the hour, they're making a true $30 an hour instead of me pulling taxes and stuff out of it. And then you're like, well, this sucks. Now I'm really making $25 an hour because I have to pay the government. But a sub's going to go, well, I used my phone today. I'm going to write that off, my house, everything, and they're making a true $30 an hour, or their business is making negative. So I think it's a lot to do with our government too. It's better. I mean, if you talk to your accountant, it's better to be an LLC than it is to be an employee because you can write everything off.
Yeah, I'm going to go over that with the compensation package. So we're going to talk about a lot of that kind of stuff coming up here.
So I have a twofold. So I did read in the magazine lately that, in one of the flooring magazines, that the commercial jobs are going to start requiring certified installers. So would that help? I mean, the certified installer, because you don't see very many certified installers that are going to go in on a commercial job.
Yeah.
And then number two, in some states, if that installer works for you on an everyday basis, the state comes in and says, hey, this guy's here every day working for you. They're going to call that an employee. So I know that in our state, they watch that really a lot.
Yeah.
That's why you have to get your audits. You get your audits every year, and that's a big red flag to them.
I've talked to a lot of companies that have gotten fined anywhere from $50,000 to $100,000 for subcontractor misclassifications, and it could be. It usually stems from somebody getting behind on their a subcontractor getting behind on their taxes. The government wants their money. You have the money. It's pretty easy to get misclassification on you. And if somebody hurts themselves, if somebody hurts themselves, they dig into it. You know, if the subcontractor's helper did not have proper workman's comp or even have them on their plan, it goes straight up the chain. So I don't want to get too much into the legal part of it because I feel like even besides any of the legal issues, there's a lot of advantages beyond that. And then the certification too. This program is designed to work with certifications and training programs. So I'm actually going to be bringing this to the NWFA, CFI, and all these other training organizations because this ties into a career path in training. So Beyond Profit, this program creates a company that supports team members, families, and your community. shift in perspective. Embrace innovation, leave outdated models behind. A system where every team member contributes to shared success. Okay, we're going to talk about the pros and cons of subcontractors and employees. One question I want to ask you is, who spends the most time in your company with the client? Is it your sales rep?
Installer.
It's installer. Okay. How much time ratio do you think that your installer spend with the client versus your sales rep?
No one.
Yeah. It's a massive difference. So if they're not aligned with your brand, what does that say? Okay. I'm going to take a step further. This work is really hard to do by yourself, right? So you hire people, okay? You have an apprentice. I don't like calling helpers to say you have an apprentice. How much time is that apprentice spending with the client? Probably more time than that sub that you love. How often do you see your subs? What kind of help can they usually find? Right? Does their help align with your core values in your business? Probably the least, right? And those apprentices are spending probably most of the time with the client. And you have the least amount of control over that client experience based on who's spending the time with them. We like to just say, oh yeah, we make excuses for why the apprentice, doesn't align with our core values. But that's a big problem. If you take any kind of business class, they're going to tell you that your team needs to align with your core values, right? The person that's spending the most time with your client probably is least likely to, to be in line with your core values. So, subcontractors. We got employees. Okay? So, what's the pros of subcontracting? I still love subcontracting. I'm not even saying don't do it. What I'm saying is 90% of subcontractors are better off as employees for you and for them. I'll talk more about that. Let's talk about the pros of subcontractors. What do you love about your subcontractors?
Being efficient and professional, know what they do.
Okay.
Being on point.
Yeah.
Productivity.
Productivity. I love that about subcontractors because I'm big on productivity and efficiency.
Fixed pricing.
Yep.
We only hire them when we need them.
You only hire them when you need them. Fixed pricing. I know this is what the job pays. I already have my margins accounted for that, so I know I'm going to make money.
I don't have to pay for workman's.
No workman's comp. Okay. I love that too. All right.
No taxes on.
Yeah. Flexibility, productivity, piece rates, access to skilled labor is needed. Okay. What are the cons? What's the cons of subcontractor?
Taking the business away from you. It's easy to just pass the number, say, hire me for next time, and they don't
Yep.
talk to you anymore.
Yep.
You lose that client.
Yep. Yeah. So they're trying to successfully run their business, and you're not on the same team. They're a different entity.
They're working for our competitors too.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. I work for probably 30 different flooring companies.
Communication, they don't typically communicate, or they'll tell clients something different than what designers
Yep.
told them. So
Yeah,
that's really
exactly.
isn't a violence.
And even if you love your subcontractor, do you love their help? It's like what I said. What kind of impression are they giving to your client? Okay?
Also, they're more easily going to walk off the job if something pisses them off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. Yeah. We're less engaged with them, right? They're a separate business. We should be less engaged, even legally, okay? So they often handle critical client interactions without brand alignment. Okay, they're not getting trained to interact with the client like what your salespeople are. Would you want your salespeople not trained on how to interact with your client, right? And like I said, their apprentices are the ones that probably spend the most amount of time. They're definitely not getting trained on how to give the client a 5-star experience. Okay, employees. So what's the pros of an employee?
They're value to your company because you have to set meetings and set goals for the company to achieve with the client.
Yeah, exactly.
Your company.
To create SOPs with them for client experience.
More legal.
It's more legal. Yeah.
Another thing too is like if you're running multiple jobs and let's say they get done early, you can move them to another job.
Yep.
And they're not
Yep.
whining about helping out the other crew to finish up.
People don't realize how much more flexibility there is with employees like that. If we have a giant job, I can have all my crews over there. If we're behind on a job, I can shift them over. I can shift the apprentices over. You know what I mean? If we got a job where we need like 5 apprentices because maybe we're just doing tear out or something, that I have the ability to shift my team around.
Okay, so speak to that for a second, because a very common challenge that a lot of people have is a subcontractor will generally get the work done that day where an employee clocks out. So that is a challenge for the retailer who, we know that subcontractor will work a couple extra hours and get that job done.
Yep.
Where an employee says, hey, I work 9 to 5, man.
Yeah. And I'm going to cover that on the compensation side.
Okay.
Because we have a great solution for that. Okay? Quality control, brand loyalty, and team cohesion. Okay, so what is the cons? Give it to me, right? A lot of people don't like unions, right? And let's just bash on the employees.
Yeah, the government hourly rates and
Yep.
the overhead,
Yep.
the accounting, the paperwork, and all that stuff.
You have in-house employees. What frustrates you about them?
Sleeping on the van when
Yeah.
they're supposed to be working.
Yep, they're working by the hour, right? They're not.
Too
They're.
much time on the phone,
Yep.
the job.
Yep.
Drama. Screwing things up.
Family drama.
Family drama. All right. Okay. Concerns about inefficiency, milking the clock, management intensity, and the bane of existence, overtime. Right? I mean, honestly, to tell you the truth, hourly employment, it's horrible. It's like the worst way we could have ever decided to pay employees, right? Guess what? I'm paying by the hour, okay? So we're going to get more into it, but there's some cool stuff I'm going to talk about for that. Okay, issues. In-house teams offer control, but can be seen as less cost-effective. Talking insurances, workman's comp, all that kind of stuff. We're going to go over that. What we want to do is we want to eliminate all the cons and issues, okay? We want to bring it both together, okay, so that we're operating ideally in both cases. That's how we get the performance technician, okay? So what we're trying to do is skirt all the cons and issues as much as we can. Of course, all going to have problems poke up, but what we're trying to do is systemically try to solve a lot of these problems. Okay, we're trying to get the best of both worlds. Okay, the performance technician program. Combining subcontractor flexibility with employee control. Overview. Our program blends subcontractor flexibility and employee consistency. How does it work? That's what we're all trying to figure out here. Like, how do we solve all these problems? In-house crews handle core demand. Subcontractors meet peak demand. I can thank Jerry for this because he brought up a great point. You're going to have sales fluctuate, right? You're going to have good months, bad months, right? I'm not saying don't use subcontractors. What I'm saying is the current model is if you use all subcontractors, you start out with your best ones, and as you get busy, you get worse, and worse, right? And then you're dealing with more fires and more issues. Like, what I'm proposing is every business, to keep your doors open, you got to have a certain amount of work, right? I'm proposing keep that as your in-house employees. Use subcontractors for growth. That way you're going to your best subcontractors, right? Like I said before, about 10% of subcontractors should be a subcontractor. They kill it. They do the business side. They keep all their ducks in a row. They know how to attract good quality apprentices, and they have a great system going, right? They know how to do it. The other 90%, they're not doing their due diligence. They're not keeping up on their insurances. They're not training their people. They have a hard time finding anybody with a heartbeat.
Question.
Yes.
What happens, because I know with us, we have our top installers,
Mm-hmm.
they're all subcontractors, but what happens if there's, and the reason we like to do the subcontractors is because if there's not enough jobs, especially in those really busy seasons, we don't have enough jobs to keep them fed, basically. So we say, go ahead and look for other jobs until we have it, because they are loyal. They'll let us know. So how do you handle that? If they're in-house, that means they just work for you.
Yeah, so let me ask, that's not actually necessarily true.
Okay.
How many people have additional jobs nowadays? There's nothing stopping them from still subcontracting. Okay, I don't prefer it because this is the thing. Do you want your best subs, do you want them working for other people, or do you want to keep them busy 100% of the time?
Yeah.
100%. Jerry once told me that people are more worried about staying busy than they are about pay.
Well, that's true. That's what we hear.
I think
all the
he's
time.
right. So why are we so worried about keeping our people busy? Because this is the thing, is you're only thinking in the subcontractor model. I can combine crews. If I have a large job, I can put 3 crews on one job to get it knocked out, right? So I have way more flexibility. You can't really do that with subcontractors. You can't be like, oh, okay, subcontractor 1, take this room, subcontractor 2, take this room.
Honestly, that was a big aha for me yesterday when we were talking because you could bring somebody in-house, but they could still work other jobs.
You can.
But they're still underneath your system. It doesn't mean that they can't work
Exactly.
for somebody else or,
Yep.
or still subcontract on the side.
Yeah, exactly. We're not limited to that. That's what I'm saying. People box employees into this box. You can create whatever dynamic you want in your company for that, whatever the secret sauce is, even individually. Maybe you have a great sub that you want as your employee, but they also want to go do their own jobs. There's nothing stopping you. We all run our businesses differently. What I'm saying is like, open up your eyes to opportunities that you may have not even considered before.
But are you asking, like, what do you do if they're an employee? What do you do with them during the slow time?
Yeah, if there's not, I mean,
You-
I've never had it to where we had no job in a day, right?
Yes.
But,
Yeah.
we would have, say we have 5 crews that we
Mm-hmm.
typically keep them busy for the most part. And then now I only have 2 jobs per day as opposed to 5 jobs a day.
Mm-hmm.
So what do I do with those, the other 3 crews that doesn't have,
You're going to start managing your schedule differently.
okay.
You see what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Because what you're going to do is you're going to make sure all your in-house crew stays busy all the time. And so you're going to be scheduling them based on the versatility that you have with the employees. I honestly don't have a problem with it. My in-house crews, we're like 90%, and they stay busy all the time. Not only that, but you can use them to do projects in your showroom as well. I always have a ton of things I want to do that I don't have time for and people. They'll sometimes rearrange the warehouse for me. So.
But like to help answer that question, because him and I have been talking
Yep.
about this for years.
He's got some great
or
ideas.
a year.
Yep.
And we're very similar on the way we think. This model isn't necessarily like it'll grow your business as well because now an employee is dedicated to your success because it also helps him succeed. So a sub would be like, oh, I don't have work. I'm going to go find other work somewhere else. Well, an employee would be like, crap, I don't have work. Did I thank Mrs. Jones at the end of the job to really make her feel some type of way to refer Mr.
Yeah.
Clayton? So it's a little bit more of a, we were talking yesterday, a brand as opposed to a pay.
yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
The additional marketing benefits you get out of it, that's something I hadn't thought
Free
of really.
marketing.
Yeah.
We're training them with our salespeople. So our salespeople and our in-house people, they're like relationally connected. You know what I mean? We're talking about shared values, about things that's going on at home. We're building, we do things for team building, you know what I mean, within our company and the installers. We were always mixing, the installers go do stuff for sales training, and the sales training comes does stuff for like demos so that we understand each other's challenges and things like that.
So how do you pay the employees versus the contractors? How do you complement both options so the employee can be much happier working and be more efficient?
We're getting there now.
Perfect
Oh.
timing.
Man,
That was
man.
epic timing.
Here's your dollar.
Okay.
Miguel, that's how you've been all week.
Oh, my God.
I'm going to try not to get too out in the weeds with this thing. So FloorZap, we're working on, I have a system that we run through spreadsheets. I've shared it with Shane and things like that. We're working on getting it fully automated into FloorZap. So they already got a time tracking app that they pretty much developed that they're going to be able to clock into all their jobs. So you're going to be able to job cost all of your hourly pay into the job, right? So what we're going to do here, this system allows you to put a margin on an employee, okay? Because that is what everybody's problem is, and that's what everybody loves about subcontractors is I can put a margin on my labor, right? And I know I'm going to pay my subcontractor this amount, right? What everybody's afraid of with employees is, oh, they're going to get overtime, they're going to sleep in their van, it's going to cost me way more to do the job, you know what I mean, because I know my sub, hey, if they sleep in their van, that's on their dime. So that's what we're doing with this. We're changing the compensation structure so you can put a margin on it, and that if they go sleep in the van, they're shooting themselves in the foot, not my company. And there's a very specific way that you have to do this legally, okay? Because there's a lot of labor laws, right? There's a lot of subcontractor laws, but people enjoy to ignore those, right? And so what we're trying to do is we're trying to create a structure that you can go to $10 million and not worry about the IRS or OSHA or labor department on your butt. Okay, so compensation structure. Motivating with results-driven structure. So this is performance-based, right? We're combining hourly pay with performance bonuses, right? So what I do is the easiest way to keep the labor department off of you is to pay them completely legally by the hour. That includes overtime. States like California and New Jersey that have crazy laws about, oh, they work so many hours and then it's overtime and this and that, right?
Sick days and all those things.
Yeah, sick days and all that kind of stuff. So what we're doing is we're making their hourly pay becomes their base pay. It's the same way like how a lot of this is I've adapted to just how we treat our salespeople. You don't want your salespeople like bogged down by all these other things like that. You want to make it simple for them so they can go make the sale. What we're trying to do is we're trying to do that for the technicians. We're trying to make it to where all they have to do is do an awesome job and give craftsmanship and a 5-star experience, right? So it's the same concept that we're treating, you know, and that's why we all pay salespeople commissions. It's the same thing. And a lot of times, you know, for their own personal security, you give them a base, right, to get started. And you never want them to just barely make the base, right? We're doing the same thing like this. We're setting an hourly base rate that they can get overtime and things like that. But what we're also doing is we're creating a budget for them, right? It's the same way that you do it with the subs. And so what we do is we have a sub rate because they have to, you know, have more overhead to cover all of the legal expenses, right? So this is the thing with the taxes and everything. It's a wash. Either you're going to take the write-off or they're going to take the write-off. The problem is the guy that's on his hands and knees working all day, how much time does he have to work on tax strategy? How much time does he have to go get, you know, find apprentices? How much time does he have to keep all of his books aligned? You see what I mean? There's a huge redundancy there. And so what I'm saying is take all that off their table so that they run their business on nights and weekends, and it burns them out. And you don't see that because you just want to make sure that they get your job done that day. So what would you do if they spent, you know, an hour a day, you know, when they could be getting your job done, right? Like that's all time that you're not accounting for. The job, everything has to be legal and everything has to be accounted for. It's either the sub does it or you do it, right? I can manage like 10 crews faster than one sub can manage their own business. I have an office. I have people that do it. You know, a lot of us are either there or working towards having a bookkeeper and an administrative help. Okay, so we're just shifting the responsibility, just like we would. Jerry, would you want your salespeople? Would you want them worrying about all these other things that we have subs worry about? Running a business? You want them to go make the damn sale.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is we want them to go get the damn job done and get it done right. And I don't want to bog them down with a ton of other responsibilities. Okay? Performance-driven structure avoids milking the clock, rewarding for quality and productivity. Accountability and drive, a structure that fosters high-performance culture. So a lot of this is we're training our technicians for culture and brand alignment, right? We want them to represent us, and we want to create a script for them for every time that they, you know, just for using the restroom, right? Making sure the job's good and all that kind of stuff. And it goes all the way down to the apprentice. The apprentice is there getting all that kind of training too so that they represent our brand, right? We hire the apprentices for our technicians. Okay? Value and opportunity of the system. Okay? This is what we're talking about with the branding. Maximizing referrals. Exceptional client experiences lead to more referrals and not reviews. How do you guys get reviews? How does any company get reviews? What do you got to do? You got to ask for them. Okay? How do you get referrals? No. Asking for referrals doesn't work. If you go to your client and you say, "Hey, can you refer me?" It doesn't work. if you say, hey, can you give me a review, that works. My contention, you guys can argue this all day long. I've done a lot of research into this. Referrals come from knocking it out of the park for them. They become a customer evangelist. Was it Seth Godin that said create customer evangelists? If the apprentice on the job comes in, bad attitude, not courteous, not aligned with your core values, they're not going to give you a referral. They're just not. My referrals and repeat customers is triple on my average ticket and close rate from a client that is not a referral or a repeat customer. So this is the thing is, with consistent brand recognition, the technicians are brand ambassadors with professional vehicles and uniforms. People think that we're a way bigger company than what we are because the vehicles are wrapped, employees are in uniform. We're working in the neighborhoods that we're likely to get another job for. They're driving past us constantly. There's little things that I haven't done that I want to do is like giving hitting all having the installer come with a flyer to all the neighbors and say, hey, listen, I work for this company. We're going to be working next door. If you have any problems with this parking anywhere, if a piece of trash blows in your yard, tell us, what's going on. And we're training them to represent our brand professionally. You know what I mean? And so now we're hitting, their neighbor is the most likely person to get referred to, right? And then if we do a great job, and then the neighbor's talking about the other neighbor that says, oh, wow, the person came and said, hey, if I'm parking in your area, just let me know. And they say, oh, man, they did a great job. Now you could have created 3 or 4 customer evangelists, not just somebody that left a review. A review is great. Referrals are 10 times more valuable than a review. But what do? We all focus on reviews, not getting referrals. Competitive advantage. A reputation built on quality and client satisfaction. What people want to buy from people, okay? And our people are our most valuable resource to us, right? And with the subcontractor model, we've given that away. We've given away all the value of the brand representation, and I honestly think we're giving way too much away by farming out all of our field technicians.
Matt.
Yep.
This is kind of going back to the few slides before. So typically what you are trying to do is kind of have a set crew of in-house installers and try to keep them busy. But if you ever get more work, you would hire your top-end subcontractor.
Yep.
So in my industry, I do a lot of tile, so a lot of the work takes multiple days. It's very skilled labor.
Yep. So
I can see how that would work easier for my industry, but let's say if you're doing laminate, stuff that has a lot of quick turnover times, is that something that, because I find it kind of hard because it's how it's a very quick turnaround. How do you typically keep somebody that's doing carpet or vinyl, in-house if it's such a quick turnaround?
I would say just sub it if it's that much of a problem. Just sub it. And I'm not even saying, oh, tomorrow try to get all my subs to become employees. Yeah. I'm saying get the sub that is the best team player and the one that you think would work best with you, and just start it out with them and try it and test the waters. This is just an opportunity, because if you want to sell your business in 2 years, don't do this. Honestly, don't do it. You know what I mean? But if you want to be around for 10 years and you want to have a really high multiplier on your sale, if you do ever want to do it, the in-house model is a lot better, because it looks a lot better to have all your own people with brand alignment, And
one thing I noticed too, with subcontractors, they can be great, but maybe one job they bring this, random apprentice.
Yeah.
Walk in the house with flip-flops and look too, as your brain.
Yeah.
That's all it takes, and they could have done a great job, but customers see that, when they feel uncomfortable, they're like,
Yeah.
"Who's this guy?"
Yeah.
So what I like about this is because we're really picky on the product that we use on our jobs. They'll use a cheaper product, and then later on it comes back to bite us.
Yeah.
But I do like the way, because then we can use our product and say,
Yep.
We've already tested all this other stuff out. This is what we like.
Top materials,
Yep.
Always top materials we use on all of our jobs. We want top materials,
Yep.
supplies.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
There's
Yep.
a benefit I don't think you even addressed in your presentation. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's an excellent point. So we're talking about streamlining efficiency with centralized operations. This is how the program pays for itself, because you guys brought up a lot of good points about the financial side of it, okay? Overhead burden, okay? Subcontractors carry all of the burden that you are complaining about. They're the person that is the least, let me put it this way. They have the least capability to manage that burden. It's there whether you have it or they have it, okay? What I'm saying is I can do it way better than they can. I'm shopping more insurances. I have people to manage all of that. Like I said, you're only managing one entity, okay? For as many crews as you could have 100 crews, you're going to have one workman's comp policy for that, okay? You could have 100 crews. What I'm saying is they are duplicating work. Each one of your subs is duplicating everything that is required, because it's the thing, if they're not doing it, there's a cost to that, right? If they don't have workman's comp, there's a cost to that, right? If they're not following the laws, there's a cost to that, right? And it transfers all the way. So it's not like all we're doing is ignoring the problem, okay? When I run this system and I have it all, I can streamline it, right? And that's where we get the efficiency gain, right? They can earn more money because they don't have to work nights and weekends on their business, okay? 10% of subs should be, because they're really good at it, and they probably have a bookkeeper, and they know how to stay on top of things. They know how to recruit quality help. And that's one of the things that I'm going to tap into is we're marketing for talent, okay? A lot of times people think, oh, well, I'm just going to have a hard time finding people that have a heartbeat. No, because now that we're in-house, I can market for quality help way better than what a sub that is trying to get their work done every single day can. Okay, I can hire a marketing person to go market for quality help, so I'm not getting bottom of the barrel people. That's the issue, is we're getting bottom of the barrel people for the subs because they don't have time to work on their business to get quality help. So we're solving a lot of problems just by getting a higher talent level.
Do you typically start them out as subs and then convert them to in-house?
Right now, we have training, and we already have the system in there. So I think it's more effective to train people into the system, okay? But if you're just starting this program, I would start off trying to lure your best subs in, and you're simultaneously getting subs that will work good with you as an employee once they see the benefits. But really the key is once you get a few, it's self-generating, because you're getting quality talent to become an apprentice, showing them how they can make lots of money and showing them a pathway to get there with a career path. That's what your subs aren't doing, okay? We're taking them and showing our quality talent a career path and how they can make a lot of money. And we're going to give them a step-by-step process to get there, right? So that's how we're solving a lot of these problems, is just having a better talent pool. Your subcontractors they don't have time to create that kind of structure. We do as the company. So that's where our efficiency gain comes from. So what I'm proposing is that we can save a lot of costs that is on there's a hidden cost to not having quality talent, okay? So what we're doing is we're providing that for them. What we're trying to do is create an efficiency gain that pays for this whole system and gives us all the benefits, okay? Technicians focus on quality work, delivering 5-star experience. I've said that like 5 times already, because that's what we're going for. We want to eliminate all the administrative burden off of them, right, to be legally compliant and we want them to run a very solid operation for us. They don't have time. I'm telling you, I was a subcontractor and I wanted to run a top-notch organization. It is so much work to do that for a crew of 2 people or 3 people. It's way too much work. Okay? We want to give them work-life balance. We give them benefits like PTO, retirement, create stability, and attract skilled workers. We can do that because we have an efficiency gain. Okay? They don't have time to set up, simple IRAs for their employees and stuff. We do that in one fell swoop. It's easy for us. They can't do that for their people. PTO, it's really easy to set up PTO. It's so easy and it's actually so cheap. It's way cheaper than what you would think. And honestly, they feel like we care about them. Can't do that with the sub. Technicians can focus on quality work without administrative burdens. A cohesive environment where employees excel as part of a supportive team. Legacy. We're going to give them a shared vision. A company with legacy, quality, integrity, and teamwork. A lot of this is I'm trying to operate out of integrity. And I brought it back. You know, I'm a person of faith. Integrity is super important to me. And I want my people to make as much as they can by doing what they do best, right? And my compensation, I've kind of gone past my compensation structure. We've been doing this for 2 years, so this is not theory. So my employees, the way I have it set up, have no problem making $50 an hour. Okay, their base wage is around anywhere from like 18 to 23. Okay, I have a chart that shows them on each line item how they can make $50 an hour. If they sleep in the van and they're on their phone the whole time, they know that they're not going to hit that tier. And the people that they're working with on the team, they have to work as a team to hit that goal too. So they are self-managing each other just like your subcontractor is, because we've given them the same motivation as a contractor.
So you put a set of crews, let's say 5 guys, 3 guys, etc.
Yep.
And you put them in that tier. If one of them is sitting down, the other guy say, we have to meet that tier. So
Yes.
get into our skills and
Yes.
screw that out and kind
Yep.
of work for it.
And I say, if you have a problem with that, you come to me, and we're going to have a powwow here
So you're
and
gonna
make
have
sure everybody's on the
you
same
have
team.
A leader on the 3 guys
Yep.
or 4
Yes.
guys that's
Mhm.
gonna compliment us, so help you.
Yep.
And then back, so you don't have to keep an eye on the guys who's just goofing off.
Well, there's a leader in each crew.
Right.
Same with the sub.
Right.
Exactly. So
So
a
he's
lot of
gonna
the
be
same
into-
model, we're just creating more structure, more leadership
Oh, okay.
to them. You know, so that they're going to have the same opportunities as it with less of the hassle. And that goes back. So my system, I'm going to just touch a little bit on this because I don't want to go too much in the nuts and bolts. But my system will account for different hourly pay rates for each employee. It will account for their skill levels and responsibility level, because we have master craftsman, journeyman, apprentice, and advanced apprentice.
And then so every a monthly, you're gonna sit down with the crew and see
Yep.
if they meet those goals to get them into that tier.
Yes, every job is project costed with my spreadsheets right now. It's going to be automated when we get it into Floors app. So it's going to generate you basically a project cost that's going to allow you to run a performance pay system, but you get to adjust the performance pay system the way that you want it to, but it will account for skill level, varied hours worked on the job, and varied hourly pay rates. So you're going to have tons of control over how to reward your team properly. And you're not going to have to do a bunch of work on it, especially once it gets automated in
So
Floors
for
app.
instance, if you have right now a general contractor and then you want to put him in an hourly rate, so that will be your leader, and then you can put the other 2 guys being part of the same tier, right?
Yeah.
Kind of get him out there.
It's split based upon
On the
lead
the
gets a
knowledge
certain
and-
amount, this one gets a certain amount, and
Right.
this one gets a certain amount, and they split it all. So he may make 40% the lead, and the other 2 may make 20%.
Oh, makes
Yeah.
sense.
And you can vary the split any way that you want.
Oh,
Yeah, exactly.
He
And
splits it up based on the 4.
The
So
four,
the journeyman, the
Yep.
apprentice, advanced, and then the whatever you call the lead.
Yeah, journeyman.
Journeyman.
Journeyman,
So the
okay.
4 of them get it split differently. Obviously, journeyman
Right.
gets the highest percentage.
right.
Yep.
But journeyman is not journeyman. If he sees the lowest man sleeping, well, that's affecting his pay.
Oh, so he's gonna.
So
okay,
he's going
makes
to say,
sense.
"Get
Yeah.
your butt up," or "Get off my job."
Yeah.
Call Matt and say, "Matt, fire this guy because
Oh,
he
makes
sucks.
sense. Okay.
He's wasting my clock, my money."
Yeah.
Which is then wasting Matt's clock,
Yeah.
his
I
money.
see.
Yeah.
So
And
everyone that just starts
Yeah.
alone and they be on track.
they all call each other out because we're trying to hit the same goal, and we're talking about, hey, like, we help each other out in this business, right? And so I'm gonna offer training. See, that's the difference with the subcontractor, and that's why I don't like leadership with subcontractor model that much. Like, I think you should totally have leadership with subcontractors, but leadership without training and direction sucks. It really sucks. You know, imagine if that's how you trained your salespeople. If you're just like, hey, just do a better job. Give us more 5-star review. You know what I mean? That's effective, but it's way more effective to actually have detailed training. So whenever we run into problems, we have a training for it. You know what I mean? We go, oh man, like our apprentices are having a problem here. We do an apprentice training. You know what I mean?
That'll tee us up for the final segment.
Yep.
Leadership.
Yeah, perfect. So we've covered a lot of this. Avoid relying on marketing to outshine poor performance. So a lot of times we want to do more marketing because we're not getting referrals and repeat customers, right? You should have enough referrals and repeat customers to keep you sustainably busy with no marketing. I think marketing should be for growth and maybe getting into other, if you want to expand. Culture of excellence, embrace a new era of efficiency, quality, and shared success. So we've had a lot of questions and we're out of time.
Yeah,
So
we're going to take a little break and then we'll have our final segment. And it's one you guys are going to love. It's about leadership and how to manage employees and things like that. But